And we are back. Welcome to Hot Jobs with us here at Higher Military. How are you this afternoon? We really hope you are well. And it is so lovely to see you in our audience and hopefully in the chat. As we make our introductions this afternoon, please do let us know that you are here watching us, listening to us, whatever you're doing. Let us know where you're watching from. Amber and I love to talk about the weather because she's in Texas, I'm in North Carolina. So, maybe what the weather's like, what the feeling's like, that type of climate, not the other type. And how can we help you today? Are you looking for a Skillbridge internship? Are you looking for a permanent job? Are you a spouse, a veteran, a transitioning service member? What do we need to know about you? Or, what sort of role are you looking for so that we can keep an eye out for you based on you sharing and us talking to prospective new clients moving forward in the future? We are here to serve you. We are here for you. If you have any other question with regard to the job search journey or anything post-active duty or moving on, let us know. We would love to be able to help you. Hey, Amber, how are you today?
I'm good, Lucy. As you said, the weather is beautiful here. It is finally cold. It is like...
What does cold mean for you?
It's 50 degrees. It is cold. I'm in a sweater. Yeah. I'm drinking coffee all through the day. It's beautiful Texas fall weather. I love it.
And you like that. So it's 78 degrees here in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I went outside and I was a bit like, ooh, a little bit of a breeze. And if we have not met before, I have recently moved from Alaska, from Fairbanks, no less, where, it was always -20. So I've acclimated incredibly well. We are here for you all today, everybody in the military community, like I said, transitioning service members, military spouses, and veterans across our nation. We share a highlight reel of the opportunities we have going on at the moment. So if you listen to us and you think, great and all, but nothing really here for me, please don't despair. There's a couple of things we would like you to know. First and foremost, we change our roles on a daily basis on the website. So, if you don't find anything today, if we don't share anything today, take a look tomorrow, take a look next week, bookmark our website. Second of all, if you don't hear anything, you can register your interest in our talent pool. So essentially what you're doing is you're just putting your resume and your contact details into our database so that as we get new roles, the first thing that Amber and I do, because we have a super fine, wonderful new ATS that we use, we can literally type secret clearance, project management skills, Louisville, Kentucky, and it brings up everybody with that. So we need to know that you are lurking so that we can get in touch with you. Register in our database. Also, one last thing, share with us the sorts of roles that you're looking for because we are really interested in that and we want to know so that we can help you as best as possible. Before we get started, also do look at the events page today because we share a couple of URLs, a couple of links there that we feel are really great elements of information for you in your job search journey. All of our information that we create, and we create our own content, Amber and I work together with our marketing team, is directed and written for the transitioning service member population, the veteran population, and the spouse population. So it's specifically directed at you guys. As an example, spouses came to us so much and said, I've got all of this volunteer experience, but I don't know how to create a resume. So we wrote something about that. We had people say, I really want to do Skillbridge, but my commander's not on board. So we wrote something about that. It is not exhaustive. It is not the Bible or the encyclopedia, but it is a great first place to go if you are looking for information and ideas. And finally, just on that, if you're not familiar, and Amber and I do talk about it an awful lot, before you ever make any application to us or to any role that you're applying to, be sure to target your resume. Be sure to target your application. And if you don't know what that means, either ask us because we can share that with you, or take a look at our website under the resources section under careers and internships, and you will find a piece that we put together that shows you, it demonstrates how to take a job description, take your resume, weave the two together and create a really competitive application. We've got a lot of people with us today, Amber.
We do. I just keep watching the comments.
We've got people from Wiesbaden in Germany. Hey, Britson, lovely to see you. We've got British Army relocated to Tampa, Florida. My dulcet tones will resonate. Probably don't have many Brits in your life right now. Oh gosh, and we've got some people who are having a really tricky time. So I think we probably can acknowledge that in a second. What do you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We do. We see you. We understand. There are a lot of people out there struggling right now. So we absolutely are here to support you, help in any way we can in terms of, providing you the resources that will hopefully help change that for you.
So we were going to talk about culture and onboarding. So I feel like we should carry on with that because that was our plan. That was our idea for today. But I think that we could also, if we have time, Amber, just touch on the interview process, because Amanda said that she's feeling a bit discouraged at the moment and she's had 6 interviews and they've all been rejections so far. That means you haven't found the role for you just yet. That means that they weren't supposed to happen as much as you really wanted them to. There's something out there waiting for you. I'm a firm believer in that. I hope that that's not just words to make you feel better. Like genuinely, there is something better for you. But let's talk about culture right now. So we were talking earlier and saying, we have had experience of connecting with transitioning service members who keep in touch with us after we have supported them, after we have connected with them. And there's been a theme recently that's come out of a few of our conversations that we felt that there were so many parallels aligning. We wanted to bring this conversation to the table. So this is just an extension of our general chit chat conversation. So it's very organic, and I promise you it's not rehearsed and it's not practiced at all. So the deal is this. We're focusing on the transitioning service member here right now. It is absolutely standard. It's average. There is a significant percentage, over 50% of those who leave active duty and change roles within the first year of being separated or retired. We see that all the time, right, Amber?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We see it a lot. And it's okay. It's normal. It actually is very normal. Because you don't know what you don't know. You've been so used to this military life, whether it's 4 years or 30 years, and maybe you've never had a civilian job before. So it's all new and you're figuring out what you like and what you don't like. And for the first time, you get to choose what you like and what you don't like and what fits and what doesn't fit. So it's a lot. We completely understand. And we'll share some helpful tidbits on this topic.
And a bit like when it's super exciting, you go to a new restaurant, you haven't tried it before, there's all these dishes on the menu, you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to choose. And you pick something that looks great and you taste it and you're like, actually, this isn't necessarily for me. It sounded way better than what I'm actually experiencing right now. We see this with people taking positions.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we wanted to share with you was about the onboarding culture and your experiences. And I have a stock catchphrase, which is, and I'm forgetting it right now as I'm saying that. Oh my gosh, how embarrassing. But, when people tell you who they are, believe them. Mm-hmm. And you have never been onboarded into a corporate company before. And so there are some red flags. But you don't know what those red flags are because just like Amber said a couple of minutes ago, you don't know what you don't know. So Amber's the person who's most recently had a conversation with somebody who's experiencing not just beige flags right now, but utterly green ones that are being waved in the sky. So why don't you share a little bit about that, about the person that what they're experiencing and why it's so much better than the first role that they took?
Yep, absolutely. So, this person separated last year and did Skillbridge and then transitioned to a full-time role. Really excited, right? It's a really exciting time, after spending, I think 10 years or so in the military and then transitioning to your first corporate role, right? The onboarding was fairly quick, fairly kind of, just, read this, sign here. This is how we do things. A lot of things were kind of on the fly, I was told, and not very reassuring, but you're getting a paycheck, your paycheck comes on time, you're doing your job, you're happy, or you think you're happy. Fast forward, this person decided to leave that job this year, right? You tasted the menu and, after a while, it was not fitting. It was not sitting in your stomach well. And so, they started the job search. And as all of you know, I know there's a lot of you out there, the job search was hard. They applied to a ton of roles, did interviews. I know somebody said, the interview thing, and we'll talk more about that, did interviews and still didn't get the job. And that's okay, right? Because like Lucy said, the right fit is going to come along, and it really will. And I truly believe it. And so fast forward, this person did get an amazing job offer this last week, is onboarding right now to start. And the amount of onboarding that they were hit with was just, I think, took them aback and said, hold on, I never had to do all this last time. There's handbooks and training and physicals and drug screenings. And I mean, it's very detailed in terms of what you have to accomplish before you can actually, start your employment. And they were pleasantly surprised, but at the same time, looking hindsight, wow, I didn't have that before. This is really a big deal. This is a big job. They really have their stuff together. And I think it gave them some reassurance that this might be a better fit.
And we have never had this conversation before on one of these hot jobs about onboarding and the value and what to expect from onboarding. And so I guess this is a really good juncture to actually stop and say, you can ask about their onboarding processes at interview. In fact, what I would do right now based on this conversation is I would go to one of the very many chat GPTs. I like to use Copilot or Google Gemini. And I would say, as a prompt, please give me 3 questions to ask at interview that queries the onboarding process or the onboarding administration of a company, so that you're not just saying, hey, what's your onboarding like? But you are directing a question that shows that you're thinking about your future there, but is genuinely going to give you information that's going to be of use. And I don't think that we have ever prompted people directly. We've sort of gone around it, but directly to ask about that, or to even consider that is your first taste of a company after the interview process. And at this point, yes, you can always kind of renege and withdraw your retractive and your contract signing. But at that point, you're kind of nearly at the point of no return. You're kind of on that bandwagon and you're ready to go. So you want to make sure, if at all possible, you've asked those questions, but also know what sort of answers you want. And so that's the point where, if you do have a mentor through one of the many mentor programs, and there's a new one that is being launched in about a week and a half called Mill Mentor. So if you're not familiar with that, please do check that out. That is the brainchild and the baby of Boots to Books and Act Now Education. They have created a new mentor program. There's also ACP, American Corporate Partners. Talk with people, or even people who've gone into the civilian world ahead of you, and say, what was your experience like? What should I expect? What was good? What was not so good? So at least when you're asking, you've got an element of education and insight into what you're hoping or expecting the answers to be.
Absolutely. Those questions are very important. And Lucy and I were talking before this, we all kind of go into interviews at first thinking, oh my gosh, this is an interview about me. This is all about me. I have to answer their questions right. But I will tell you, if I ever did an interview in the future, I'm coming armed with lots of questions, and they're going to be about the company culture. How do you handle a situation, such as, I'll give an example. How do you handle such and such policy? Like Lucy said, asking about onboarding. What is my growth opportunity? That's a key one for a lot of people. You want to know that you're going into something where there are opportunities for growth, that you're not just filling a hole and you're going to stay there. Especially if you're, early in your career and you really want to learn and move forward. So all of those questions are important. The interview is just as important for you to interview the company to see if they're a fit as it is they're interviewing you.
And I think this is such a great conversation. I think we should write about this on LinkedIn afterwards. Sure. So I appreciate this. And so we were going to acknowledge just quickly Amanda having a tricky time. I guess, Amanda, it's really hard to identify why you're not doing so well now. But one thing I would say to you, and I know, Amber, that you can pitch in here, is ahead of time, are you asking them what type of interview they will be administering to you? Because that is the first question to ask in order to be able to prepare as best as possible. And when they answer situational or competency-based or behavioral, that is the point at which you should start to look up those types of interviews on the web. We have a great guide. It's called Guide to Interview, but it really talks you through the STAR acronym. If you're unfamiliar, you answer the question based on the situation, task, action, and your result. That's sort of like a very brief overview. There's far more detail. But ultimately, I mean, there's 2 or 3 reasons. One is that you're not delivering the answers to the best of your ability, or you're not giving them the information they are seeking. Second of all is maybe there's not a culture alignment at that point in time. Third of all, it could be that you're pipped to the post, unfortunately, because there is a far more competitive candidate to you. And that's really hard because we don't know who we're up against. But what I would say to you is, my advice is connect with one of the support organizations. There's many career counselors and advisors out there in the nonprofit space, VSOs, who support our population. The USO Transitions Program, Vet Jobs, and Hire Heroes USA are 3 of them, and they can walk you through. They can do interview practice with you. They can answer questions for you. They can do everything so that by the time you get into the next interview, you feel a lot more competent and confident. Amber, anything else to add there?
No, I completely agree. I mean, you do want to do your research. I mean, we have fantastic AI tools that are out there that can help you generate interview questions so that you can practice them. You can even Google search interview questions for that particular company, and you might actually find them somewhere on the internet. So yeah, I mean, as long as you're doing your research, you're coming armed, you're ready to be yourself, give answers that speak to you, and also ask questions in return. And like Lucy said, sometimes it's just you're up against a candidate that you don't know. And so I'm telling you, I know this is hard. Try not to take it personally. I promise. Like, it's what is meant for you will be. I truly, truly, truly believe it.
And one final thing to acknowledge Ezekiel as well, because I feel like this aligns there in addition. You are wanted somewhere. I feel like it's quite possibly that you haven't created a really competitive resume upon application. So that's my piece of advice. And Krista said that you've got retired as one of your headlines. I think that, retired is definitely a word we use in the military population in our demographic, but it means something very different in the civilian world. So when I told my friends my husband was retiring, they're like, what? So he's not going to work now for 20, 30 years? No, he's going to work. He's retiring. But we say it like retiring period instead of retiring from the military, now seeking a second career. So just take a look at that piece, Ezekiel, as well, because that genuinely on your LinkedIn profile could have an effect. But what's the first thing that we do when we get an application? We come straight to LinkedIn. Yeah.
I look at LinkedIn. Yeah. Cause I want to see that, all your information from your LinkedIn profile, if there's anything missing, maybe you forgot to add something that's really important that should be on your resume. I mean, we look at all of it.
We do. So that was a lot of information. Thanks. We've got a lot of information to share as well. So where shall we start? Last week, if you joined us, you would have met Chris Greenhall with us. He interned through the Skillbridge program at Veteran Service Brands for 3 months earlier this year. And he shared his incredibly positive experience learning the business. And what we wanted to share today is twofold. First and foremost, I have another permanent role that they are recruiting at the moment, and that one is in the Baltimore area. I'll talk about that one in a second. But also, they have multiple franchises across the US that they are looking for veterans to take part in. So Veteran Service Brands is a franchise opportunity organization that has 4 different brands. It has epoxy flooring, it has a parking lot striping one, it has commercial and residential painting, as well as athletic field markings. And these exclusive franchises are only available to US military veterans, and they offer comprehensive support, including full resources to find your funding and serious mentorship to help you build a thriving business. If you want to know more about that opportunity, please do connect with us or drop a comment below, because they have franchises across the whole of the US and they are flying this year, absolutely doing phenomenally. By the end of this year, they will have over 80 owner operators and they're looking to exceed 100 by the end of next year. So let me tell you about the permanent jobs that I am recruiting for at the moment. Audit manager remote. This role specifically is working with one of the big 4 consulting firms. If you're not familiar, there are 4 global firms, KPMG, PwC, Deloitte, and EY. And one of those has connected with us to identify people who have worked in federal audit and finance. So if you have had accountancy finance experience in any one of the military branches, but possibly, ideally, the US Army, because this position is ultimately working for the Army as an end client, I want to hear from you. You need to have 4 years federal finance experience. And this position that I'm recruiting today is remote, so you can take part in it from anywhere across the US. The position is actually working on the environmental and disposal liabilities team, but you don't necessarily have to have experience in that capacity. So if that sounds of interest and you can check the boxes, do let me know. I would love to hear from you. Also, if you want to read more as we are talking today, you can go to our website, hiremilitary.us, and see more of the detail of each of the positions. I mentioned veteran service brands earlier, and they have a business developer / project manager that they are looking to recruit out of Baltimore. So it's a hybrid role, but you will live in the Baltimore area because they do have an on-site office there that they would like the successful candidate to visit on a fairly regular basis. Plus, there will be travel in and around the region across Delaware, Pennsylvania, and the Maryland districts. So what they are looking for is somebody who can grasp their warm leads that have come in that they have not been able to do anything with up until this point because they are so busy. Take them by the hand, build and develop super relationships and close those deals, ultimately becoming the project manager or account manager for those accounts thereafter. You don't actually need to have sales experience or business development experience. Ideally, you will be a veteran or military spouse. So they want somebody from the population. They will teach you everything, but they really want the motivation, the aptitude, and the attitude that being in our demographic brings. So if you are in that area and that sounds like it's of interest to you, please do connect with me. I would love to have a conversation because, like we said earlier, they are one of our favorite clients and we want to share some of our great population with them. Today, we are coming to you with multiple roles that we have on our website, but they are actually with the Defense Logistics Agency, the DLA. So rather than make your application across on USA Jobs, they are asking us to host their vacancies on our website so that you can have an opportunity to actually apply through us. So currently, we have a financial systems analyst in Philadelphia, and we have accountancy roles in Richmond, Virginia, Whitehall, Ohio, Battle Creek, Michigan, Philadelphia in Pennsylvania, New Cumberland in Pennsylvania, and Fort Belvoir in Virginia. If you would like to hear more information about those, as always, connect, take a look at the website. We would love to be able to share a little bit more detail. And finally, these are hot off the press. They came in last night. They went straight up onto our website. We have a joint venture with a company called Skillstorm. If you are familiar with Mike Quinn, our founder and Chief Growth Officer, he posted about the relationship and the working partnership today. But they have asked us to look out for them 3 different career functions, 3 different roles. One is a DevOps engineer in Fort Belvoir in Virginia. The other is DevOps in Fort Meade, Maryland. And the last one is network engineer in Columbia, Maryland, which is just southwest of Baltimore. So it's sort of in between the DC metro area and Baltimore. All of the qualification criteria and certifications required for these roles are posted, as well as every single role has the salary that, if we recruit for them, there is the salary there for you to be able to identify whether this could be a good fit for you. Head over to hiremilitary.us to find these roles and many more. And like I said earlier, please don't forget to join the talent pool while you're there. It's the easiest way for us to stay connected with you and to get great job recommendations, as well as be the first to know about new opportunities as they arise. Amber, that was a lot. I'm passing the baton to you.
Perfect. All right, everyone, I'm going to talk about Skillbridge. So our Skillbridge or Career Skills program, if you're Army, these are internships for transitioning service members during their last 180 days of service. So these are only for transitioning service members. These do not apply to veterans or spouses. There are other programs out there for those communities. So I'm specifically targeting those who are within 6 to 12 months of transitioning and available for a Skillbridge internship. If you are unsure, definitely reach out to your command team. I am going to harp on that one just a little bit. Please have the conversation early, have it often, know how your command team feels about letting you leave for participation, because that is ultimately very important in this process as you are applying and going through interviews. So the first role that I have several roles. Actually, I'm going to continue the DLA program here. So Lucy talked about the DLA full-time employment roles. We also have Skillbridge internships with DLA. How amazing is that? So let me just say, before I go into these roles, this is your opportunity to do an internship with DLA that will lead to a full-time employment GS position with DLA. I mean, we're talking, you're not having to wait that time period. You're not having to do a giant federal resume. I mean, you're literally just applying for a Skillbridge internship, getting your foot in the door, and hopefully leading to an amazing career with DLA. So we have different roles with their finance department. We have the following role. We have business analyst, financial analyst, financial liaison, as well as they're looking for accountants and accountants who specialize specifically in accounting systems. So all of the roles are listed on our website. The locations for almost the majority of the positions are Fort Belvoir, Virginia, Richmond, Virginia, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, New Cumberland, Pennsylvania, Columbus, Ohio, or Whitehall, Ohio, Battle Creek, Michigan, and San Antonio, Texas. So they're all listed there. I will say the locations, that is where they do want you to be for the full-time role. If for some reason you have an issue with like moving or things like that, they will look at a remote option for the Skillbridge portion for the right candidate with the right qualifications. So that is definitely a conversation we can have. So if you are interested in any of those, please send me a message, connect with me. I would love to have a conversation with you about those roles. They are fantastic and we're really excited to have them. And then the next role that I am looking for a project analyst. This is a remote position. We actually had an intern with them right now who's going to transition full-time. So they want to have another one on board. They really loved our candidate that we sent over. They're from the veteran community. So American Microgrid Solutions, they are looking for a project analyst to basically conduct energy analysis of facilities and look at design models. Essentially, they go out and service the community in terms of renewable energy. And so they are looking for a project analyst. They do want somebody who's passionate about renewable energy, a strong background academically, either undergraduate, if you have a nuclear background or flight experience or any other technical background or certification, they definitely are interested. Power electronics, a desire to learn new skills. They do want someone who's very capable in PowerPoint and Excel. So those are the two like really big ones for this role. So if that sounds of interest, they are looking for someone to ideally start between January and April. So if that fits your time frame, connect with me. I would love to have a chat with you about it. And then finally, I'm going to mention this one just in case you all have this or know somebody. I am looking for a professional services consultant with Splunk, and this does require a top secret SCI with a full scope poly, and this is in Fort Meade, Maryland. So I know when I say full scope, that is very rare, but I'm going to put it out there just in case. If you know anybody with a full scope, I would love to chat with you. So yeah, so this is with Splunk. Again, this is on site at Fort Meade, working with their PSC section. It's fantastic. And if you have any questions, it's on our website. Check it out. And that is all the roles that I have today, Lucy.
I just threw my hands up in the air because I think I might have somebody for you that I connected with today. He said he was too early for a permanent position in Fort Meade, but
Perfect.
yeah, so we'll have a look. We'll take a look at the poly piece. Just before we head out today, one other company that I would love to elevate in your brain and elevate the status of them so that you are aware that they even exist is Acuity International. We've been working with them for a number of months now to host their vacancies on our website because they specifically want to recruit from the veteran population. Like the screen says, their roles are OCONUS. So they are a GovCon working in the majority of places, either security or healthcare. And the roles that we have identified and up on our website right now are in Iraq, Somalia, and newly added this week, the Marshall Islands, so in Oceania. I said it was paradise. Somebody told me that there were no cars there. But you know what? If you want to get some of that downrange tax-free money for a year or so, please do take a look. We've got everything from healthcare, veterinarian technician, firearms instructor, armorer, you name it, we've got it up on our website. So if that sounds like it could be of interest and you think, oh, actually, I would like to know more, either let us know below or take a look at our websites. 1 minute over. We've done well. Thank you, Amber.
Thank you, Lucy. It was great.
It was great. I wish everybody a safe, healthy, and happy rest of the week. And we will be back, as always, 2 p.m. next Tuesday, Eastern Time. Take care. Bye-bye.